Another way to express the relationship between two numbers is to give a ratio between. For example, the ratio between men and women is 4 to 5. The ratio between desks and chairs is 1 to 3. The ratio between months and years is 12 to 1. The ratio of A to B can be interpreted as a fraction, A bth. This means we can work with ratios in the same way we work with fractions. If the quantities compared are given, the ratio has the same order. For example, suppose a company has a marketing division and an accounting division. The ratio between the number of employees in each division is 9 to 2. If the accounting division has 18 people, how many are in the marketing division? So let X be the number of people in marketing. So remember, consistency counts. Divisions are listed in the order marketing, then accounting, so we can assume the ratio given is also in the same order. So marketing divided by accounting is 9 divided by 2. Now we're given the number of people in accounting. We want to know the number of people in marketing, so we can replace them in our equation. And if we multiply both sides by 18, we can eliminate the fraction involving x to get our solution, 81. And again, it's useful to remember, answer the question in the same language it was asked. So this was asked in English, so we should say something like, there are 81 people in marketing. Given a ratio, we can read it in two ways. The ratio of A to B is P to Q, but we can also switch the wording as long as we switch the ratios. The ratio of B to A is Q to P. This can lead to a useful simplification. The ratio of a woman's salary to a man's salary at the same job is 7 to 10. If the woman is making $49,000 a year, how much is the man making? So as stated, we have the ratio of a woman's salary to a man's salary as 7 to 10. So this gives us the equation. Let X be the man's salary. Since we know the woman's salary and X is the man's salary, we can substitute those in. We can multiply by X to get rid of the first fraction. We can multiply by 10 to get rid of the second fraction. And then we could divide by X to get, and so the man's salary is $70,000. But that's a lot of work, so we could also read the given ratio as that of the man's salary to the woman's as, flip it, 10 to 7. Since the man's salary is the unknown, this second form is actually more convenient because it allows us to rewrite our equation as, and now we can just multiply by 49,000 to get. In a perfect world, the quantities being compared are explicitly identified. We don't live in that world. It's sometimes necessary to identify the comparison order from the words in the question. And remember, math is easy, English is hard. Suppose the population of two cities is 4 to 3. If the smaller city has 120,000 people, how many are in the larger cities? So let X be the population of the larger city. While we're not told the order we're considering the cities, the fact that it's a ratio of 4 to 3 means that the larger city must correspond to the larger number. And so our ratio should actually give us, we're given the population of the smaller city, and X is the population of the larger city, giving us. And if we multiply by the denominator under X, we can get rid of the fraction to get, and our solution. It's important to keep this structure in mind. So suppose the population ratio of two cities is 5 to 7. If the smaller city has a population of 350,000, what is the population of the larger city? So let X be the population of the larger city. And we could solve this as x over 350 is 5/7, multiplied by 350, and we get x equals 250,000. And remember, we want to answer the question in the same language it was asked, and so this would tell us the larger city has a population of 250,000, where the smaller city has a larger population. This doesn't make sense. So remember, if the setup is wrong, everything you do is wrong. Our ratio is 5:7. That has to be smaller to larger. So substituting in our values give us. Now, we could solve this equation, but as an alternative, we can switch the order of the ratio and instead use 7:5, which must be larger to smaller. And we can substitute in our known values, and we have a much easier equation to solve, giving us our solution.